Hey, you're listening to episode 173 of the Keto Diet Podcast, and today we're chatting about how moms make it work in this world. You guys are awesome. Any moms out there, you're just doing amazing work, and I'm always in awe of all my girlfriends who have kids that manage to have a business, take care of themselves, also have children, and just it's unreal. I'm always just so amazed at all the amazing things that you do in the world. If you have questions about today's content, you can head on over to healthfulpursuit.com/contact and ask me. That includes suggesting different podcast materials. If there's things you want me to cover that I haven't covered yet, head on over to healthfulpursuit.com/contact and submit your question or suggestion. You can also catch up on previous podcast episodes and grab the notes from today's show by going to ketodietpodcast.com. Just look for episode 173. I got two cool things for you today. The first is that there are only a couple more weeks left to enter to win a $1,000 Amazon gift card from me. All you got to do to enter, and you can enter as many times as you want, is use the hashtag Keto for Women when you're sharing selfies of yourself with my newest book, Keto for Women, or interior pages, or maybe you have a story to share. Anytime you're using hashtag Keto for Women, you're instantly entered, and I'm donating 25 cents with every single share to upwithwomen.org. And Up With Women is dedicated to helping recently homeless and at-risk women to rebuild their lives. My second thing is that I've put together a free keto resource for you. You can head on over to healthfulpursuit.com/free to grab it. And it's an introduction to the ketogenic diet, how to get started. So if you're new to keto or you're struggling a little bit, healthfulpursuit.com/free. Okay, let's do this thing. Welcome to the Keto Diet Podcast, the show all about keto for women so you can burn fat, balance your hormones, and heal your body. Starting and maintaining keto can be challenging without the right support. So just for listening to the podcast, I want to give you 20% off the keto beginning with the coupon code Keto Podcast. That's all one word. This 30-day program gives you a clear step-by-step how-to so you can quickly adapt to a ketogenic diet, avoid common struggles, and get the results you crave. Go to healthfulpursuit.com/begin to get your keto beginning discount today. If you're new around these parts, I'm Leanne Vogel. You may know me as the international bestselling author of The Keto Diet, founder of happyketobody.com, or maybe you know me as the nutritionist that likes dipping pork rinds in avocado oil mayo. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Thanks so much for listening. Our guest today is Noelle Tarr, who's a nutritional therapy practitioner and NSCA certified personal trainer and the author of Coconuts and Kettlebells, in addition to managing the health and fitness blog coconutsandkettlebells.com. She owns an online wellness practice specializing in an individualized approach to health and fitness. Noelle is the creator of Strong From Home, an online fitness program, as well as the co-host and producer of the incredibly entertaining Well Fed Women podcast. It's personally one of my favorites. She lives in Fairfax, Virginia with her husband, baby girl Stella, and 2 boxer dogs. Noelle's workouts are featured on my 12-week video training program for fat-burning women, Happy Keto Body. You guys can find out more by going to happyketobody.com. And she gives you a workout plan every week for the 12 weeks. It's such a great resource. Okay, let's cut over to today's interview. Hey everyone, I'm here with Noelle Tarr, and we just had a great conversation about body image, fitness, and a bunch of other things that's going to go live on the podcast soon. And I wanted to chat with you guys and with Noelle about how she balances being a mother and an entrepreneur and having a family and feeding her children. Noelle, thanks so much for joining us.
Yay, thank you for having me.
Yeah, totally. So you're a mother, you're also an entrepreneur, you got a lot of things going on. And the question that I get so much is, how do I balance this? How do I make sure that I'm feeding my children the way they need to be fed? I look at a lot of the pictures you share on Instagram when you're feeding Stella with all the little like mashed up things on her little, what is that called? See, I'm not a mother. What is that thing called that you feed her on?
Oh, her high chair.
Thank you.
Okay.
See, like not a bone in my body.
What's that thing?
Yeah. Thing she sits in. Wow.
I love it. Wait, so did you ask the question? Wait, I answered the first one.
I got distracted about high chairs. How do you manage feeding a little one, and how do you know what to feed her, how to balance that? You're just so good at it.
Really? That's what it looks like on Instagram. So the thing is, really, truly, there is no such thing as balance. Technically, like everything is never going to be like perfectly in line. And like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be like my work's here and my kid's here and everybody's getting equal attention. So some days she gets very little and we're strained a little bit more and we have to go to Whole Foods to grab dinner. And other days I am doing zero work because my kid's having multiple meltdowns and has a cold or whatever. So it's trying to go with the flow. I think that first and foremost, and this is going to be funny, you'll know this right away, but everything I build my life off of is like sleep.
Back to today's episode in a sec. Today's episode is sponsored by my friends over at Perfect Keto, who is an awesome company that I've been working with over the last 2 years. And I love their commitment to quality, their ability to know what us keto people need because most of their staff are keto themselves. I use their products to stay into ketosis, burn more fat, extend my fasts, and satisfy my sweet tooth. Now, if you're new to the ketogenic diet, Perfect Keto is a brand that you must know. All of their products help you get on the diet, make the transition easier, have you experiencing ketosis a little bit faster with boosted energy so that you really start to benefit from ketosis and you don't get discouraged by all of the symptoms that can pop up if you're not supplementing with electrolytes or not having enough fat or still having too many artificial sweeteners. And my favorite part to this, guys, is when you're new to keto, you can often have that afternoon slump. By supplementing with some of their products, specifically their exogenous ketones or their keto collagen, and even a little bit of their MCT oil powder, you can help avoid that afternoon slump that we can often experience as we are transitioning to the ketogenic diet. Now, my personal favorite Perfect Keto products include their keto bars. Almond butter brownie has my heart. It is the perfect dessert. Exogenous ketones help to maintain my energy level and give my brain a certain edge that I need every day. And lastly, their nut butter is out of this world amazing. Stick that stuff in the freezer, let it sit for 24 hours, and go to town. I use their stuff on a daily basis, sometimes multiple times a day. And if you go to perfectketo.com/KDP, you can get 20% off their products and up to 25% off, a total of $34 off when you grab my favorites as a bundle. Again, that's perfectketo.com/KDP. Okay, back to today's episode.
Sleep is the priority, right? Because if that's off, everything else tumbles out of control. So I feel like everything I build on my life is like on my plate is from the basis of let's make sure I get enough sleep. So that means going to bed earlier than I would like, even if I have work to do. And that means sleeping in until 7 o'clock, even if I need to be getting up at 5 so I can get A, B, and C thing done before she wakes up. I just have to prioritize it. So that means I'm a little bit less productive for sure, but I'm happy and healthy. So that's great. So sleep is the number one thing. From there, I just try to balance it as best I can. And like you mentioned, it's really hard to be a mom and to be going through a lot of these new things and these new milestones and then be like having to research it and like try to figure all of this stuff out. Like it's a lot, right? And so I think that I have really been able to lean on a lot of our blogger friends. Like we have a lot of great people in the holistic community. I have a lot of, I don't know if you have Voxer. It's a great like walkie-talkie app. It's like a mom's best friend, but it's like you just hit a button and you talk. And so like I've connected to a lot of my blogger friends on this walkie-talkie app. And that's pretty much how I stay connected to people. And if like my kid has a weird rash, I'm like, can I send you a picture of this rash? Because I'm just not sure about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just nice to have people who have been there. And so first and foremost, besides the sleep, it's just like the support from my community too, is like friends, family, my husband, being able to lean on people, and then just chipping away, always prioritizing what's the thing that I need to prioritize and focusing on that first and making sure that I'm happy. As you know, it gets really draining to be doing the things even that we think we should do with our business or with our work. Like there's always like, you should be doing this, right? Like I should be writing a book, but I know that that wouldn't be healthy for me. Or that's just an example, but I know that that right now wouldn't be healthy for me. Or maybe I just want to go a different direction and that's okay. And so always staying true to like what it is that I like doing and what it is that I want to be doing. And everything else kind of falls into place. So most work happens during nap time. So it's like 2 hours a day. So it's funny that you're like, oh, you just get so much done. I feel like I've just become really efficient at getting work done that needs to get done. Whereas before I'd spend a little bit too much time on Facebook or Instagram. I'd be like, I take a little break. And now it's like hyper focused 2 hours. If it's good enough, I put it out. And whereas before it would be like, it'd have to be perfect. So I'd spend 20, 30, 40% of my time making things crucially, absolutely perfect. Whereas now I'm like, this is good enough. And that's my best advice for anybody that is doing a lot of things. In terms of Stella's food, I try to really I do share that because that's a big part of our life right now, right? Feeding kids is hard. And I learned a lot from somebody named Megan Garcia. She taught me, she's a great, really intentional researcher. And she never recommends anything that's not like, and it's important when you're talking about kids. She doesn't recommend anything unless she really understands it and is like, it's something that's very clear in the literature. So she actually has really educated me on the fact that like iron is so important for kids, as is vitamin D and zinc. And so the traditional first foods that they recommend for our kids are things like fortified foods, like rice cereal with iron, whereas that's not really like an actual source of iron, right? It's just got synthetic iron added to it.
Back to today's episode in a sec. If you're not familiar with Paleo Valley, they make one of my most favorite healthful keto snacks, 100% grass-fed beef sticks and 100% pasture-raised turkey sticks, and they are also fermented. Each stick contains 1 billion CFUs of probiotics to benefit the health of your gut and strengthen your immune system. Their gut-friendly sticks are gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free, GMO-free, free chemical, additive, and dye-free, as well as being preservative-free. Many of the flavors are 100% free from carbohydrates, and the best part, they're really, really tasty. Now you can shop all things Paleo Valley, load up your cart, and apply a 20% discount code to everything in your cart. To take advantage of this offer, go to paleovalley.com/keto, fill up your cart, and enter the coupon code KETO20. That's KETO20 at checkout to apply a 20% off discount on your entire purchase. If you're unsure of the link, simply check out today's show notes for all the details. Okay, back to today's episode.
So I started with the most nutrient-dense foods, and I started when she was ready. So a lot of kids introduce foods to their kids when they're not ready, and they spit them out, and then they think, oh, they just don't like that food. No, you just like, your kid has no other concept of what food is. Like, keep going for the foods that are the most nutrient dense. Like, that's what you start with, right? And so it was liverwurst, which she still loves to this day. It was like bone broth mashed with avocado. It was like grass-fed beef blended up, like nothing sweet, nothing like starchy, just a lot of really good iron-rich foods. And then from there, I just moved into, it's really important to be intentional with, introducing potentially allergenic foods. But that aside, I would just kind of introduce foods that I thought she was ready for and that I wanted her to like. So for example, sardines are a great source of omega-3s. So she still eats those to this day, right? That was a first food, and that was a food that she ate for months. And then I started to introduce things like berries and really like, high quality fruits like clementines, because I wanted her to get a lot of vitamin C because it was the winter, stuff like that. So it's just like being very intentional with creating a plate for her that is very nutrient dense, and we can build from that. And I did do something called baby-led weaning, which is basically giving your kid, within reason, very specific sizes of food. So like a carrot stick that's maybe the size of your pinky that is cooked, so that your kid can pick it up and eat it, versus giving her mashed food. So she never had any problems with textures. She's never really rejected anything other than, oddly enough, tomatoes. I can't get her to eat a tomato. But other than that, she's been pretty, and she has phases where, boop, she won't eat any more sardines. And then I take them out for a couple weeks and I bring them back and she eats them again. So it's just going with her flow, letting her lead. If she wants to take a bite out of the butter, I let her. She eats plenty of butter. Some people message me like, my kid eats that too. That makes me feel so bad. I'm like, your kid knows what they need. Like, this is a baby. If she wants to take a bite out of the butter and she needs more of it, like, I'm going to give her the butter. She probably needs some vitamin D and K2. You know what I mean? So it's just like, we have good quality, high quality grass-fed butter. If she needs like 2-3 egg yolks in the morning, like that's what I'm going to give her. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, no, that's too much. Like, no, cholesterol, it's just, so it's interesting. Like when you take a lot of that conventional crap away, in terms of like all the things that we hear about food, and just let the kid kind of lead and make sure everything is really nutrient dense. Like I decide on the food, she decides on how much. So even if I give her some raisins, or a Lar-bar, which is like, sometimes she's just eating so much now. It's like, okay, kid, I'm going to give you a Lar-bar before you go to bed. I let her decide on how much she wants to eat. I'm not like, oh, this is dried fruit and sugar. Like I'm going to take this away. Like I just kind of let her go and see what she eats. And, gosh darn it, she wakes up the next day and still wants sardines, so that's kind of been my ground rules with her. And it's been working pretty well. So yeah. And she drinks all the bone broth. That's all she's ever drank is water and bone broth, which is great when she's sick. So yeah. And bone broth is super nutrient dense. So yeah.
That is so cool. Noelle,
Yeah.
thank you so much for giving us an inside look. And I think really the takeaway is to just like not be perfect, like be perfectly imperfect.
Yes.
And that patience with food, that's really awesome tips. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Keto Diet Podcast. Join us again in a couple of days to discover more keto for women secrets for your fat-fueled life. The Keto Diet Podcast, including show notes and links, provides information in respect to healthy living, recipes, nutrition, and diet, and is intended for informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor is it to be construed as such. We cannot guarantee that the information provided on the Keto Diet Podcast reflects the most up-to-date medical research. Information is provided without any representations or warranties of any kind. Please consult a qualified physician for medical advice and always seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding your health and nutrition program.